Hi everyone, welcome to this webinar this Thursday morning or almost noon. We're gonna give people a minute or so to come in before we kick off. So while we wait for that, for more people to join, I can just shortly introduce my guest. I will do it again when everyone's here, and we talk a bit more about what this webinar is about. But today I am happy to be joined by Simon Jaffan Lien from Regio and Brunswick Real Estate. Welcome, Simon.
Thank you, Maria. Happy to be here.
Yeah, how has your day started?
Very good. A lot of meetings, a lot of sustainability work. No, but good. It's a beautiful day here in Stockholm.
Yeah, it is.
Can't complain. It's a warm end of September.
Yeah, it really is. It's super nice. I was out for a morning meeting myself. Really enjoyed the warm fall weather.
Yeah, even it's a bit scary with this climate, but yeah, we still
It is.
fun.
It is, and that's the perfect cue, perhaps, to get started.
Yeah.
So this webinar we're going to listen to today is a discussion between me and Simon. The topic for today is sustainability in the real estate sector, what lies ahead. So we're going to talk about what the current challenges are, but also what we see going forward for the real estate sector specifically. And my name is Maria Svantemark. I'm the CEO and co-founder of SustainLab. SustainLab is a full-service sustainability provider featuring an automated and easy-to-use sustainability data handling platform. So with the SustainLab platform, we enable decision makers like yourself to get to better decision based on data that actually matters. And in addition to that, we do offer consultancy services either in-house or with our great ecosystem of partners to really be able to help you from where you are to where you need to go on your sustainability journey and do it faster, more efficiently, and more impactful. So that's that about SustainLab and who we are. But today we are joined by then my great one of our first customers actually, and a great customers of ours. I represented them by Simon Jaffan Lien. We should have been joined also by Josefin Andreasson from Areim, but she is unfortunately sick, so she couldn't be here. She sends her regards, and we hope that she feels better soon. But I'm sure that we'll still have a super interesting conversation with Simon. And in this webinar, we're going to talk about, as said, future and current challenges within the real estate sector. We have plenty of time for questions, so please ask all of your questions. We're going to go through the practicalities soon. But in this webinar, we talk about how we can prepare for CSRD, but also beyond that, the potential impact of these increased legislations, and also what role data plays in driving impact going forward. There is in the bottom right corner a chat box in which you can chat and interact with each other. If you find that chat box, it would be super interesting if you could tell us what real estate company you're from or what company you're from, so we know who's listening in. And next to the chat box, you see a questions tab. In that one, you can populate any question for us, and we will pick it up during the webinar, and we also have plenty of time in the end set aside to answer all your questions. So really take the advantage of getting Simon's wise thoughts on your sustainability work. And I see that some are typing where they're from. So am I. I'm from SustainLab. And please keep populating that chat box. There will also be, when we refer to something that's outside of this webinar, we will put a link in this chat box. So if I refer to something and you think, that sounds interesting, I would want to know more, check the chat and there will be a link. All right, I think that's it about practicalities. let's get started. So first of all, warmly welcome all of you, and of course, Simon, mostly warmly welcome to you. You are Head of Sustainability at Regio and Sustainability Manager at Brunswick Real Estate. Could you please introduce yourself, talk a bit about Regio and Brunswick Real Estate and what you work with when it comes to sustainability?
Yeah, thank you, Maria. Happy to be here. So, as Maria said, my name is Simon Jaffen-Lehn, and I work here at Brunswick Real Estate. And Brunswick Real Estate is a Nordic investor in real estate, and we develop and manage real estate companies. Right now, we have 7 real estate companies across segments, across geographies, and different strategies, and with different investors. So we work with institutional investors, both Swedish and international. So pension funds, insurance companies, and so on. And in our biggest real estate company, Fastighets AB Regio, I've been working since in Brunswick since 5 years, but in Regio as head of sustainability since this year. So I'm now part of the management team and driving basically the sustainability agenda forward. So to summarize, head of sustainability, I work with sustainability strategies, reporting, governance, and then I also a bit now in projects like a sustainability expert. And in Regio we have properties worth 16 billion Swedish crowns across Sweden, and it's commercial real estate, and the investor alongside us is AP3, so the third national Swedish pension fund. So it's my sustainability heart, claps harder because we do this for future pension fund, for us, for the future pensions. That's basically it.
It's an impressive CV so far in your career. And what are the focuses for Brunswick Real Estate and for Regio right now when it comes to sustainability, and how do you see the real estate sector developing?
So right now, I would say all of our real estate companies, and especially in Regio, we have a lot of focus now on carbon dioxide, so emissions, and setting targets and reporting on greenhouse gases. So in Regio, we have come the furthest. So we're working now to develop our science-based targets, and it's a near-term target. So we have developed targets to 2030. But of course, after that, we're going to aim for 2045, the Swedish net zero targets. And in the other mandates, I would say, or real estate companies, we are building, we're following kind of the same trajectory, kind of reporting and doing an inventory of our greenhouse gases in the operations and setting targets. And from our investors, I would say that greenhouse gases are kind of the main focus right now. But as we know, with the CSRD and with the CSRD and SFDR, we will see other sustainability matters popping out on the agenda, such as biodiversity, circular economy, water, and so on. Since sustainability is so broad, the focus for us in Regio right now, it's a lot in greenhouse gases and science-based targets.
Yeah, and I mean, we also see the same. I mean, it's great that the legislation start to reflect reality. I mean, if you just saw the update of the planetary boundaries now in September by Stockholm Resilience Center, where we see that 6 out of 9 planetary boundaries are crossed, it is quite clear that carbon is a great start, but we also need to move beyond that. Yeah. But you also mentioned the legislation CSRD and SFDR. CSRD, I think, is on every company's mind right now, at least everyone I'm talking to. How have you been preparing for CSRD so far, and where do you see that the challenges lie?
Yeah, so Fastighets AB Regio, now I'm talking from the point of view of Fastighets AB Regio, because Fastighets AB Regio is the only company in Brunswick that will be directly affected by CSRD. We're gonna report on the second batch, so from for the fiscal year 2025, and that's because we're then a large company. We haven't been reported before under NFDR, the legislation before, non-financial disclosure reporting directive, I think the name is. We haven't reported it before, so now it's a big kind of task to kind of get to know how should we report, find the right actors to help us, consultants, because we know there's many out there, big four, the auditors, other sustainability consultants. We know that everyone now, develops like competence in CSRD. Right now, my focus kind of to talk with them, see their kind of model of how they can help Regio get aligned, but also for me read up on CSRD. I want to know what it says. Maybe not all the paragraphs, but kind of know the essence. I think it's important for if you have a head of sustainability role or any management team role, you should be informed. And I think the essence with the CSRD and with this legislation is that management team and the board should be informed. They cannot rely, as they have done before, maybe solely on consultants.
No.
Going forward, but now they should have in-house kind of competence and know how to go forward. So I would say Regio now it's in a phase we're kind of looking around, trying to find right actors to help us and consultants and reading up on the reporting standards.
Yeah. And there is actually one of the things you said, like we can't just rely on consultants anymore. During the spring, summer, and now starting with the fall, we have done quite a few gap analysis in SustainLab with our customers when it comes to CSRD. And a quite common challenge is that a lot of management teams trust their head of sustainability or sustainability manager to take care of this. And it's great that they have trust that we have a super competent person here, but it's almost a bit of over trust to think that this person will solve it him or herself. And we know with CSRD that's not gonna be the case. But it would also be interesting to hear everyone else who's here. How ready are you for CSRD? So please answer this poll, and you can skip it if you feel like CSRD is not relevant for us at all. And we will share the results eventually. Nice. You actually see, we see now that the votes are coming in. We're at almost 2/3 of us watching, and the majority says we're started, but there's some way to go. There are only 10% who thinks they're fully ready, and quite a large chunk who hasn't started yet. What would you say, Simon? What did you click? Where do you fit in? Fully ready or have started with some way to go?
I actually clicked not started yet because now we have started to prepare in some sense. But the work, I interpreted the question from when you started to work with, maybe not preparing. But we have started to prepare but not working with. So I clicked not started yet. But I think this reflects kind of how it is right now in the market. We know that with CSRD, they have expanded kind of the amount of companies getting hit by CSRD.
Yeah.
So I think now it's 50,000 companies that will report. So I think this is kind of makes sense.
I agree. I can only congratulate those that are fully ready. The majority
Yeah.
of the companies we talk to are not. So if you feel like, oh, we haven't started, or we started but we're not really there yet, you're not alone.
One question could also be: have you reported before,
Yeah.
or are you new to sustainability reporting?
Yeah, you're right. That also makes a difference. Before moving on to the next question, we did have a webinar on 5 learnings that we have made at SustainLab while helping companies getting ready for CSRD. It's a super short, I think 18-minute webinar, very packed with information and tips. So if you feel like you're not at the 10% that's fully ready yet, I can recommend you to have a look at that, and we will post the link in the chat so you can have access to that. But Simon, let's look at the broader regulatory landscape. Looking ahead, how do you anticipate that regulations like CSRD or SFDR that you mentioned, you're hit by both, and the taxonomy will impact the real estate sector in the coming years?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I can only speculate. But I think now with CSRD and SFDR, we have kind of the umbrella, we have the full scope now of how we should report going forward. I don't think we'll get like more EU. Maybe we'll have like sub-regulation under CSRD and SFDR.
Yeah, like the
Now we kind of
sectors.
have the whole package. This is what they have been kind of developing since the Paris Agreement. So I think now we kind of see the full scope, but we're still focused on, as I said, climate change. And it's one standard reporting in climate change is one of the sustainability matters. So what I think lies ahead is kind of broadening up and like have a focus on the other sustainability matters. I think biodiversity will be huge, and especially if you're like a company developing properties and building stuff. For existing properties is kind of it's still a bit unsure how you should report a kind of your positive impact. Should you have a green roof and then you're fine, or green wall, or should you count like the species on on the roof? So
how efficient is it, or effective?
Yeah, and I know we have reporting standards coming, TNFD, and kind of these packages of how you can report in biodiversity. But I think we have some work to do, but I think that will come. But for the real estate sector in general, and in general for other sectors as well, I see CSRD as a transparency reporting. I mean, it doesn't say you have to be at this threshold or you should do like this. They want you to explain how you incorporate sustainability in your board, management team, and advisory board. So, and then do this materiality analysis. And if you find anything material to your business, you have to report on it. So in the future, it will be easier for investors, for banks, for tenants, and for others just interested in in knowing how well like the property company are developing can read it. So it's a transparency and greenwashing reporting tool. So I see in the future we will have more data, and we can make more accurate kind of benchmarks between companies, and not just rely on the communication from companies, because many times we think the company is very sustainable because they push out all of their initiatives, and in Regio, and I mean we don't push out everything. So if you only look at the kind of LinkedIn or press releases, you would say, okay, man, you don't do anything. But now in the future, when we have reporting, we can follow it. The same with, annual reporting, we follow the financials. Now we will also follow the sustainability metrics.
Yeah, and you mentioned, this is for investors, for banks, also tenants, or actually people are just interested. But we also know that one of the main reasons for this legislation is to shift the financial flows in a more sustainable direction. And for that, we need this transparency, as you say.
Yeah.
But do you see that these regulations could affect property values, such as the emergence of green premiums or brown discounts?
Yeah, I mean, in one way, I mean, CSRD is on like a corporate level, so on like your top company, so not the specific assets. So in a way, it affects like the corporate value or the value of your business. Then, of course, if you, for example, carbon emissions that you report in one part of CSRD, scope 1, 2, 3, it's aggregated from each asset. So if some way you can, I mean, you can look at the data and kind of break it down for each asset, and then in the future, maybe the tenant could, ask for this information and or other actors such as banks and stuff. So it could affect. But I think mainly it affects kind of
the business value,
the
or
corporate
the
level,
company value.
and if they want to invest in you or not.
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, of course, if you don't do the shift or transformation on asset level from brown to green and make it more, climate friendly, it will reflect in your CSRD numbers. So there's a connection.
Yeah. And let's move on then from these regulations to, you mentioned that, we're going to need more transparency, we're going to need more data. In relation to this fast moving regulatory landscape, how do you see that the role of data will evolve, and how does that affect which sustainability data would be needed?
Yeah, so I mean, the data we have the companies that have started, for example, greenhouse gas accounting in scope 1, 2, 3. We kind of we have the data right now, but as we know, they have different. Everyone is based. The calculations are based on GHG protocol, but then we have many assumptions and kind of proxies that you do in your business, and that's fine. But I think one kind of a downside with that is that it will be hard for investors to really compare one company to another. Now with CSRD, we will get a bit more stringent kind of reporting, and they want to make it easier for investors and banks, as I said, to kind of compare. So I think first, I mean, the comparability will increase with CSRD, but then also, I mean, the amount of data. And how you handle data. We're going to have auditors now looking at your sustainability data and setting their kind of okay sign on it. So we will need to develop the same kind of reporting and systematic reporting in sustainability as we have in financials. So I mean, here at Brunswick, we have several economic system, financial system for booking, stuff and invoices here and there, stuff that I don't know anything about. But we have to develop it on sustainability.
Yeah.
Where do we book this emission category? How do we present it in a good way? How do we keep track of the assumption that we did 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Because now we're kind of, okay, every year we want to disclose our greenhouse gas product accounting, but maybe not the assumptions or the discussions we had that led up to a new number, or kind of we change our emission factors. And now we have to keep track of these changes. So we need, of course, a good system that can, that auditors easy can go into and find the right data. And especially for real estate, sometimes it could be kind of a PDF that we got from the municipality on refrigerants, scope 1. We need to kind of have that somewhere safe. And I mean, preferably in the cloud, not in an inbox or kind of an Excel.
Someone's head.
So I think
Yeah.
there's we need to build up the reporting structure for sustainability and make it comparable to financial reporting.
I could not agree more. But I'm of course also a bit biased here. But I do see that point. It is super important, and demand is just going to increase very, very rapidly. I mean, we should remember that financial reporting actually started in 1492.
Yeah, with the
So
first
it's like, yeah, we have more than 600 years or 500 years at least practice in this. We will not even get 5 years of practice before CSRD hits us fully. But
yeah.
I also wanted to ask you, because reporting is one thing, but as sustainability manager and head of sustainability, a significant part of your role is also to use this to drive change. There's no point in reporting for the sake of reporting, or, well, there is point because now it's a legal demand, but what we want to see is the actual change. And how do you see that data helps you in your role of driving, true transformation and this shift to a sustainable society faster?
Yeah. I mean, in one way, CSRD, yes, it's I mean, it's reporting on the last fiscal year, but it's also looking forward. In the double materiality analysis, you have to look on short term, medium short term, and then long term. You have to, I mean, at the start of the analysis, you need kind of have this future perspective. So in a way, already there, you have the strategic kind of discussions, kind of what will hit us in the future. Should we address this right now, or should we, wait a couple of years? So I think in that sense, CSRD is different to kind of financial reporting that only looks kind of on the last year. Now we do it with greenhouse gas accounting and other metrics, but we will also have a focus on the future. And with that said, I mean, of course, you can get stuck in the reporting kind of ditch or like träsk. It's important. I mean, my point of view is that all the data should be used kind of going forward, and I mean, and really drive change. And what we do in Regio is really kind of understanding the data. And I mean, and in that sense, you need to go down to the real, I mean, to the asset level. We have the greenhouse gas, I mean, now it's focused on greenhouse gases. We have the total emissions, but then we, after each year of reporting, we look at the properties and see the shift. And then using this number, we can make a plan of how we should move forward. What we should do exactly in this property or in that property. So I think, I mean, going forward, you need to report on the top, but to make change, you need to look at like the properties themselves.
Yeah, where the actual change happens.
Yeah, but I mean, it will be. I mean, now a lot of for companies like Regio that haven't really reported, or I mean, been legally obliged to report. Now we have to focus a lot on developing the reporting kind of competence, but still have the drive going forward.
Yeah,
it will be a lot of work.
a lot of work. But you already talked a bit about the future, and I really like that. So let's take this futuristic lens and stay there a bit. And what do you see from your point of view? What knowledge and strategies do you see are most critical for sustainability professionals in the terms so that they can future-proof the sustainability agenda of the company, which is also, as we know, should be the business agenda? What are the most pressing competence and strategies that we need?
I mean, I can only look at myself and kind of learn from my journey. I'm not done, but I can see what I've done right, or kind of it happened to be a good way. When I studied environmental science as my bachelor, and then sustainable urban planning at KTH for my master's. So I didn't have any kind of knowledge or competence about kind of the property business or real estate business, or kind of these, the more financial side of the business or of real estate. I was more interested in urban planning and sustainability in a bigger sense. But so during these 5 years, I really had to learn kind of the business and what drives, revenues and risks and opportunities and so on. And now I can really connect it with kind of sustainability risks and how sustainability, kind of the focus on sustainability and opportunities really affects, the core business of real estate. Because a property company, we rent out square meters. That's what our kind of product. If that's our product, and then we rent out the whole premise. And now, if you really can connect kind of how sustainability makes your property greener and more attractive and more rentable, it really affects the business. So I would say what I want to say with this is you really have to learn kind of the core business of the operations of your company. And it sounds like an easy, an easy tip or recommendation, but for me, and I think for many sustainability professionals, you're so focused on your competence, your little box, and you don't think about the other side, kind of the driving the company forward. So for me, it has been a great kind of key to find kind of the connection between sustainability and the core business in real estate.
But isn't that a great tip in general? I mean, it contains a lot, because it contains, we need to have a holistic understanding, whether that is not only looking at carbon, but all of the sustainability areas, or whether that is not looking at our sustainability silo without understanding the business. And then, as you say, understanding what drives value in this business, because going with the money streams and the financial flows is way easier than trying to go oppose them. So I think that it lies a lot in that.
Another key for me, and what I think also is a good recommendation for any sustainability professional or other roles that are interested in sustainability, is that you need to have, like I say, like a zoomed out holistic view, and then zoomed in view. So you need to kind of follow the science, kind of the new the developments, as you say, the planetary boundaries, 6 are reached. You need to kind of the urgency. You need to follow like kind of the science, but then you need to translate it to action on a corporate level. And then you need to understand the business. You need to understand your colleagues. Their competences, because I'm not the one. Coming up with all the strategies for construction, let's say, that's our project manager, and he should do it. He has more competence in building. He has been working in that sector for 30 years.
Yeah,
I can only push him in the right direction. So I need to understand kind of my resources down here and how fast we can go. If I come down and say, oh, tomorrow we have to build everything with reused construction, he wouldn't know. They would be mad at me for trying to push this agenda down. So it's always this balance between, zoom in and out.
Yeah.
And it's really hard, but I think it's a great mindset to have.
Yeah, and I think that's, it is quite challenging work description that you're providing, and it's quite complex. But I think that's also why I really love working in the sustainability sector, because I meet so many smart people, because you all have to be able to do this work. It's quite complex. So it's a great industry to be in, but lots of work. Before moving into answering some questions, I would like to ask you, Simon, this has been a super interesting discussion. What's your kind of one advice or key takeaway that you would really like to push?
I mean, connected to CSRD, I would say, I mean, everyone says it, but get prepared and kind of start to read up on stuff and meeting actors. Even if you're reporting in the third batch, I mean, in the future, from 2026, it's good to start right now. I mean, Fastighetsavregler is the second batch, but we know that we have, I mean, in order to report for the fiscal year 2025, we have to start measuring from 1st of January 2025. So actually, we only have next year to develop this kind of the whole operation side of CSRD. So it's quite fast. So start preparing. And then in sustainability in general, I would say connect the sustainability strategy with your business strategy. If you have a separate like sustainability budget or, I mean, different business plan not connected, it will not work. We have to integrate them together.
Yeah.
And
that's a good takeaway. There are two good takeaways, one for you and one for Josefin, who couldn't be here, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I think my takeaway, I think what you said about CSRD is not only about reporting, it's actually also forward-looking. It does help you to future-proof. I think that's a super valid and valuable point, because if we let this great opportunity be only about reporting, we miss so many chances to really future-proof our business, change for the better, make real impact. Right, we have received some questions both in the chat and in the questions tab, but I'll start with the first one because I think this is probably one of the people listening in from as far from Stockholm as you can be, but it's from Ethan at Net Zero Myanmar. And the question is, as a starter about net zero initiative within the country as such, which parts should we focus on first? Is it building the system first or building the awareness first? Where would you start? Would you build with system or awareness first?
I mean, I would start with awareness. But I think, I mean, you could do it in parallel. Why start with one? That's my motto. I'm trying to do everything in parallel. No, but I think awareness, and that's also one key that I mean, after 5 years here, our CEO in Regio, he knows kind of, he can discuss scope 1, 2, 3, kind of rate. I mean, so I'm really happy and I feel proud when he knows kind of these terms that I have started to implement here. So I would say, I mean, awareness and increasing awareness and kind of competence and knowledge is really important. So not only having all the tech stuff or the systems, but you also need people to really understand this. But of course, then it's again this zoom in and out. We have, I mean, 7 years till 2030.
Yeah.
So in soon 6. So it's like, okay, how much time do we have to build awareness? But then you have to
I agree with you.
How can you do it fast in your company?
Yeah, and I agree with you. I mean, without awareness, it's really hard to build a system at all. But also building the system, one thing that we see with a lot of customers is that data is such a good driver for awareness. When we can show this is, you know, our carbon footprint, or what our gender equality looks like, or our biodiversity impact, or whatever it is, when we can show that, it gives us a different starting point of discussion. So I agree. I do agree with you. Without awareness, we don't get anywhere. But you can also use the system as a way to build awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good question. Another question we've got is, what's the main driver for the increased sustainability focus in the real estate sector right now? Is it legislation that we talked about? Is it investments? Is it market demand? What would you say?
I would say it's a mix. I mean, first we have investors that are really pushing on this. We feel it in, I mean, of course, in Regio, we have the third national pension fund in Sweden, but also with other investors, they are really pushing it. And I mean, since taxonomy came, I mean, the knowledge of sustainability on the investor side has gone up, so they push. But I would also say, I mean, what we see, I mean, the tenants are really waking up as well. In
Nice.
Fastighetssköp we don't have I mean, we don't have any properties in kind of central Stockholm or Gothenburg or Malmö, where you have the big companies kind of with a high environmental kind of knowledge. We're out there in the country, and of course, I mean, the sustainability agenda right now has been lower outside, I would say, in regional cities than in big cities in Sweden. But we see now, we did a tenant survey this spring, and we see that it will be important for their when they look for premises in the future, sustainability will be a factor. We had a question, and it was more than 50% that said yes or maybe. So
Nice.
we see that our big customers, our big tenants, are now addressing this. So it's really, and as I said, that's our business to, I mean, keep our tenants happy.
The market is changing.
Yeah. So I would say, and of course, we have financing side, banks, and so on. But I believe when all our tenants are demanding this, the transformation will go fast.
All right, nice. And another question, I think this will need to be our last. If someone else has a pressing question, please put it in the question box. We can also pick it up later. Otherwise, we take this as the last one. So you said, Simon, that you have your CEO discussing scope 1, 2, and 3. Not everyone has that knowledge, stakeholders internally. So the question is, what's your tips to get all stakeholders on board? My CFO still pretends that sustainability doesn't exist.
Yeah, I think, and in that sense, I mean, connecting to the question before of systems or awareness, I think you as a sustainability professional, you have to do some kind of the initial work. So connecting sustainability risks with kind of the business or opportunities. I mean, and translating kind of, the sustainability metrics, greenhouse gases, biodiversity into business risks and opportunities. And that's something they understand. They might not understand tons of CO2. I mean, what does it mean for the business? But if you translate it to the business side, that's what CFOs do. So I mean, I think that in that way you can really get their attention. So that's like a task on you to kind of find this connection and then present it in a good way.
Nice. All right. So that's a task and a challenge for everyone to feel that they don't have their stakeholders on board. Thank you so much, Simon, for sharing all of your insights, and thank you all of you who listened in. That was it. But if you want to continue discussing sustainability in the real estate sector, Simon, where do we find you if someone wants to speak to you directly? Is it LinkedIn that's the best channel?
Yeah. Add me on LinkedIn, Simon Jaffan Nylén. We can chat on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Nice. And you have a unique name, so it's easy to find. You find me on LinkedIn as well, Maria Svantemark, also a unique name, so also easy to find. But you can also email me. We just put the email in the chat if you want to continue the discussion or need help with your sustainability work in the real estate sector. Thank you all and have a continuously great day.
Thank you. Thank you, Maria.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.